when the truck is running, my phone's synced to it, and I think that's why we lost the audio. Well, let me know if GP gets back in here. He'll let me know if I got audio or not. Let me see. Stand under the conveyor for a second. Get out of the rain. There, maybe that works. Of course, YouTube takes it slow. Boat from China here. Apparently underneath the conveyors where the bugs are at. Uh-oh, I gotta skip too. Oh, great. I'll have to fix that next time I'm in here. There he is. Yeah, so every time I shut off my truck, the phone is Bluetooth to the truck, and I think that's why I lost audio. Yeah, that's what happened. So, nonetheless, I ended up bringing down 4 or 5 loads, and as I'm bringing them down here this week, Gramps came down with his tractor, and we got them down here. He got everything stacked up for me as I was hauling them down with the little blue Ford there. But that's about a day and a half worth of cutting. And he got it all stacked up nice for me. I wanted to bring you guys up on the hill because I've been doing a lot more cutting up there. I actually think I'm getting into softwood now. I'm going to try to make a load in the next month and try to get it out of here to try to put a little bit of money back in my pocket, more or less, because softwood market's getting actually sounding like it's getting pretty good, so we will see. But I don't understand if the service is going to poop, what the deal is, unless my truck boosts it for some, I don't know. Nonetheless, it's raining out here and I'm not a frickin' fish, so. Doesn't make much sense. Oh, I get more, there we go. I get more service in the truck, or maybe where the truck's sitting. Got a bug right in my eye. Like I said, underneath that conveyor, that's where all the bugs were. Oh boy. I'm thinking about hiring a guy to be here and split wood. GP, in all honesty, if it is possible, and I only know about it for myself and saving money wise, depending on how your work is in the winter time, that's when probably 80 to 90% of my processing happens. So like in December, if you basically shut off, until February, or maybe you get a job here or there, but it's not like May through August or something like that, that would be the time to do it. Let the wood sit, let it naturally season a little bit, because it will. As long as it's cut and off the ground a little bit, it'll start to season, even if it's on the ground. Unless you get into white birch, popple, anything that turns punky quicker than snot, But I mean, having a full-time splitting guy, you won't be able to keep them going. That's going to be the problem. Even if you had somebody part-time come in for a day a week, you can split a lot of wood in a day, especially with one of them machines. So just something to think about. Frickin' stack it up all summer, and if you can get a couple good rows of it, that'll keep you busy all winter, and then you start selling her off, whenever you get time. Riker, how's your day? Mine's great, buddy. How's yours? I don't know, man. Wheels been turning. I have 30 cord of wood here. I only burn 15 to 16. Bud, you don't know what this winter's going to be like. You know, last winter I burnt 2 tons of coal. Every winter prior was 3.5 to 4. So it could be a rough winter. And say you burn 2022, which is a lot for you. It's nice to have that extra wood for when times get tough. You know, you can really make some profits off of that. Not saying freaking rape people, but you know, they're in my mind about firewood. If you don't take time in the spring to order your wood and let it season, you're only looking to get raped. You know what I mean? It's one of them things. You want somebody else to do all the work for you, season it for you, deliver it for you, stack it up for you in the middle of wintertime. You're not saving no money. You know what I mean? It's literally it's $45 for this wood sitting here 6 months. It's $45 more for me to let it sit here, put it in the truck, and deliver it to you, than for you to buy the green wood in the springtime. You know, which it isn't horrible, but it does add up. You know, that takes a $240 cord, and that puts it up to $375. I never have time to, brother, even in the winter. With all that being said, I don't want to even make the time. Yeah, no, I understand, buddy, but you know what? Me going home and running my little splitter is not what I do for a living. It's one of them things, kind of like hunting and preparing to hunt and getting the woods ready. You're in the woods all day. There's a big difference between taking time for yourself and working your woods versus taking your time working somebody else's woods. You know what I mean? It's a relaxing type of thing for a lot of people. Maybe it's not for you, but you know, that's why I still swing the old axe around from time to time. That, you know, GP, if that's what you want to do, buddy, get it stacked up, and you know, then you got to trust a guy with a saw. You got to have the guy be able to buck it up into what you want for lengths. No, I understand that completely, GP, because I'm in the same boat. That's what I told my grandfather. I said, Gramps, to be honest with you, I just bought this brand new tractor. I've got this new firewood processor. I said, and all I want to do is run my saw. You know, drop trees, get them bucked where I need to buck them, and keep going. Get on to the next one. Have somebody else get in there, skid the wood out, load up the truck, get it down here, do that type of thing. But I don't know. If you can afford to do that, do it. But I'm not in that position right now. But I'm in the same way of thinking about it. I mean, I love cutting. I love cutting trees. Tired of all the other stuff, bro? No, I understand it, buddy. I do. I have guaranteed customers as it is for cordwood. Fit check. Oh, speaking of fit check, which I don't know what fit check means. GP, you were right, buddy. I went home after when he told me fake news about the litter boxes. I did not realize how widespread that is. They were saying that the biggest area of this misinformation about schools actually having litter boxes was in Michigan, which I didn't know. Like I said, first time I heard from it or heard about it was by an older buddy whose grandson was going to a different school than my kids. He told me that supposedly they had sent letters home telling them that they were going to have areas for these children to go in the nurse's office. So I'm not trying to get back onto that subject, but I was completely wrong. At least from the multiple sources that I looked on the interwebs there. and how big of a kind of explosion of misinformation was out there about that. So I did want to get that off my chest. So Sonia Cruz, thank you for the fit check. I don't know what fit check has to do with it, but at least it got me to the fact checking side here. That's where I'm at. About to have a burnout. Yeah. So much pressure on guys like us. I'm just trying to figure out a way to lighten the load, friend. Buddy, I don't know if there is a way. You know, there's a reason why we are doing the most dangerous work in the world. You know, there's some type of magnetic pull that keeps me in these woods and with a saw, even when I'm eating oodle noodles, and you know, putting a little bit of lemon juice in with my water so I actually have something different to drink every now and then. You know, I don't want to do anything different. It's not easy work. But man, oh man, you know, 4 or 5 extra hands any day would be a blessing. But in the same respect, like you said, don't ever want to work for somebody else. Don't ever want to have to punch a time clock again. So you just keep chucking on. Thug Nasty, good to see you again, buddy. You have a good day too, bud. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's the best high, probably, and the best low I ever have is a good or a bad day in the woods. Frig, yesterday I was up here working on this barn for this lady, getting it ready for wintertime because I think I'm going to utilize it to store my tractor in this year instead of having it out here in the woods with the snowblower on it. And I worked there till probably about noon, and then I called my old boss and I talked to him about pine, and that's when I figured out that the pine market is sky high. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go up in the woods and I'm going to get some pine down. So I started cutting pine, and I think after the second tree, I got one tree limbed, bucked, you know, log length. I think it's maybe 60, 80 foot long, and beautiful pine, 28, 32 on the butt, something like that, without the swell on it. And I started coming out with that one log because it was just, I had to maneuver it between trees and all that. And it started downpouring. And I started going down this really narrow trail with a big old washout on my left hand side. And the tractor slumped right down into it. I almost rolled the tractor over. So I stopped. I released the winch, put it down, and I went back to grab the chain off the back of the winch plate, and I couldn't get it. It was still so tight, and I couldn't back up the tractor any because I was right on I'll have to show you guys on one of the videos where I was, but nonetheless, so I took the hook from the winch, I put it on the chain, and I gave that thing a big old pull, and that winch pulled that chain out, and it missed me by, I don't know, all I could feel was the wind of that frickin' chain and winch. The good Lord was with me, I'll just say that. So I drug that tree down, went back up, got that other pine out, and almost rolled the tractor again on the stupid washout area. I parked the tractor finally because it just got too wet. Went home, it dried up, I went back. It's like a high. It's like a drug, the woods. I don't know what it is, where I can just wake up and want to be there, and when I come home I still want to be there. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, right? No, it's days like that, man, where like you said, you gotta risk life and limb. It is weird. You know, you always chase that high. You always chase that high or that near miss, or it's think it's an addiction we have, for sure. Here you're swinging from different trees to even get a wahoo from me. Yeah, that's what I mean. Uh, if you can you sleep what? If you could, can you sleep with an M16? Sleep with an M4 or an AR-15 or whatever you want to call it. One of them amazing black frickin' scary guns, right? Two-pan. We still got freedoms over here in America, no matter what the left they want to say. It's almost dying and living to tell the tale, I guess. That adrenaline. Yeah. Scary black guns. Man, there are some good memes out there of them now. I love that. I freaking, what was it, yesterday? Yesterday when I got home from my near misses there, I turned on the tube for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes before it stopped raining. Then I went back out, but in between, I think there was 3 different spin-offs, and there were 2 black guys jumping over a fence with hoods on, masks on, and they had guns in their hand, and they were saying, what would you think if we broke in your door or something like that? And then all of a sudden it turns the page, and a guy with a freaking AR-15 is just driving a steel AR-15 plate, and then he pulls out his pistol and you know. Thank you first for the answer, but I hope you take care of your guns. Buddy, I take care of my guns. I take care of my guns. Absolutely. I actually got out of guns after the boating accidents, you know. But yeah, that's a money pit, almost like chainsaws. No, that's a lot worse money pit than chainsaws are, because there's always something new and tactical coming out, right? And then you don't want to take your weapon of war apart to put the new ones on, so then you got to get another one to work on that one. So our guns are well cared for, absolutely. Very well oiled. Very well. But yeah, a Mini 14 don't get talked about. That's one firearm I do not own. My buddy's got a pile of them. Pile of them. His dad was a competition shooter, and he has target sights on one of them. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous firearms. But yeah, they categorize them as the same thing basically. They're not black, and they have wood on them, but still. Revolving bolt action low, yeah. The old, what was that one? The Model 99. That is the most complicated system I have ever taken apart in my life, with that internal counter. And oh man, I had another buddy at DOT that collected them things. He had one for every member of his family for after he died, and if you don't keep them things clean, man, oh man, oh man. Ruger Mark IV. What a pain, eh? Was the one I took apart and I actually had to consult a manual with. Like I stick pretty much to Glock. I'm a Glock boy. And then BCM. BCM is my my scary black ones type. But I had the Daniel Defense. Daniel Defense gets a little funky with their rails and stuff like that. But they're kind of fancy. But yeah, I'd say the Model 99 was probably the most complicated one to take apart, clean, and get that counter working again. How about that tractor? How is that tractor on tracks you got? Man, oh man. The more and more I watch Outdoors with the Morgans with his, the more and more I can justify one. But before I do that, I gotta look into something else first. So grapple's insane. What do you have for a grapple on it? Is it actually a grapple, or is it just like a grapple for a skidder, where it's got the base plate on it, and then the arm that comes out with a 56-inch log grapple? Okay, okay. Did you go with the root rake or the like rock bucket? Uh, rotation with a base plate. Rotation with a base plate. So it's not. Okay. It's like a skidder. Okay, that's what I was asking. Because I know they've got them. I got a piece of paper here. That's what I'm trying to figure out for my tractor now. Because I've got the third function kit. And we'll just put a little dealio here. Because I'm so talented. Let me see. It's beautiful. So this, I'm in between this guy for mine, which is a bucket grapple basically. It's like a stone bucket or rock bucket, but I really think I want a root rake. So this right here would come down, and it's got multiple fingers. If you could just see, like a rib cage basically, and then it's got a grapple to come down. I'm more apt to get this because I can rake roots, think nonetheless. But if I was to get this, I could use it for firewood as well, where it will drop the garbage out the bottom of it because it's all basically like a rock bucket would be. And then as you go in, basically you could clamp down on the firewood and come out. But I don't think that would be so good for multi-logs. But how's that for art, eh? I'd have a tough time making Ming up on that. No, that's about perfect. No, that is that's the perfect solution for you. Is that grapple with a heel? You get big limbs or anything else, and then it should have little lugs off the side of it, right? That you can actually do some crane work off. Branch manager, yep, yep. You get anything probably 4, 6, 8 inches, something like that. Grab onto it with a heel plate, and bring it out to your chipper. Has the ballards and stuff. Yeah, that's why I was looking at that with the Morgans. I think it was the Morgans, one of them, and I was very impressed with that. That they've actually they you know they definitely got an arborist frame of mind when they're using that machine. That's really cool. Picks up 1,000 pounds with ease. More than limbs then. More than limbs. Yeah. That would be a very hot ticket item. How is the ground pressure on that thing when you get all that weight out front though? Does she have a tendency to dig with them front idlers? Right? The driven's up top, so I'm always kind of wondering that, because I know from running like bobcats or skid steers or like mini excavators, anything like that. Anytime you have a pretty good load out front, it rides them front idlers pretty hard. All right, that's off. I gotta roll my windows down just a little bit more. She's getting freaking hot in here. Back camera, please. Back camera, please. I see the back camera. There you go. There you go. I can't put you on the back camera. I got a little magnetic phone mount here. That's all I can freaking do. I'm in my truck. Not too bad. Need to kind of drag the things. Yes. Then it'll flatten out. Absolutely. Use it just like a skidder. Yeah, it's kind of what I was figuring, man. No, that's a beautiful little tool right there. Absolutely, I could use that for my everyday freaking logging operation that I've been doing here. Just the amount of times where you don't want to pull it straight, you've got to go out a little bit and maneuver, and it's so nice to be able to get onto something like that with a rotating grapple. Yeah, it's raining. It's raining pretty heavy here. It's basically parked at my loader. Oh, you basically parked your loader. Yeah, I would figure that, man. Quick quizzes, how you doing? Yeah, Bobby. Yeah. No, that loader would be perfect for your firewood operation, buddy. Be about perfect. All you need is a set of forks and a way to move. That's a mini excavator would be even better, but you work for them things. Especially if you got to buck everything into 16. Like I said, look definitely into your location as far as pizza wood and all that, because I think they're like 4 or 6 inch. But even if you do 16 inch, you can get 4 sets of 4 out of that, so you'd be all set. You in a truck or a car? I'm in a Toyota pickup. Oh, as you can see from the mud, just lovely day here in the wood yard. So that's what we got going on. Well, we try to do this every Sunday, kind of go back and forth. That's the name, Bobby. I have a fork and a clamshell bucket for the load. Oh, there you go, bud. There you go. You figure out what you're going to do with it yet? If you do, get into the splitting, you're going to stack it up, you're going to bulk it up, you're going to look into getting a kiln. You be careful now. You get into that firewood too much, and you be out of the tree work like I've been. No, you love your tree work. I do too. I just do so much logging on the sides. It's so much nicer to go into the woods, and if you forget your wedges or you forget, well, then again, look at last Monday, right? I had more freaking wood on top of wood and saws bound up, but I didn't have to worry about no houses. I didn't have to worry about nobody up top or underneath.
It's nice. It's a breath of fresh air when you can go out in the open woods. And the only thing you want to do is make sure that you can retrieve what you're cutting down and keep it out of your road. Less handling time, you know? $2.50 a cord, so you'd be getting what, $82? $82 a face? $82 a face cord green, man. I'm getting 80. Like I said, I get 80 and I do free delivery up to 10 miles. So for my greenwood. So if you can do that, yeah, you could flood him. He won't be saying all he can get for very long because it doesn't take long to overwhelm, especially a bundler. Yeah, that's a heck of a deal, man. That's a heck of a deal. You know, especially for stuff that you'd be dumping somewhere or putting on a lot. You know, I mean, all depending on how fast you can get it split. You know, obviously a processor's going to be faster, but them repeatable. Well, I think Cord King actually has one that is repeatable. They have a box wedge. If you look them up, they're yellow and forest green, I think it is. Actually, I've got a short video on here of the Cord King going back at the logging show. Um, yeah, he will, bro. He sells over 200. Well, hey, be 200 cords of it, bud. Son of a gun. But an extra $50,000 a year off freaking stuff that you'd be. I mean, granted, you get him 200 cords. He's made a business out of selling bundles for the last 20 years, buddy. Like I said, when I do my cherry bundles at $15 a bundle on Marketplace for smoking, I'm getting 680 dollars a face cord. Granted, I don't have much cherry, but right now I probably got another face cord and a half over there sitting. You know, so he's got a good business. Yeah, I mean, if you can. And like I said, I forgot what the heck it is. Maybe I'll look up what that. I know it's a short video on my channel. It's from the Vermont Logging Expo this year, and it's of a yellow Cord King. I almost, I think it was like a box repeater or something like that. But it would sense when it pushed a chunk of log back and push it through, push it through, push it through, and then it had an arm off the other side, and it would drop a new chunk in, and then it would just keep going until it was empty. But I don't remember it well enough. But I do. I'm taking down a big old cherry in a couple weeks. Or likely a 2 cord tree. Well, you know, one of them wolf trees, eh? Yeah, yeah, yeah. The almost what do they call them? The yard trees or something like that, where there's no competition around it, so all it needs to do is just flourish, which is where you get your. That's where you get your what is it? Bird eye maple or curly? But I mean, hey, you do the job, whatever the job costs, $2,500 or whatever it is, would it be around you? I don't know what the tree looks like, but if it was a monster around structures, it'd be an expensive deal here. But then you add an extra $1,000 on top of that from the frickin' two cords you can get out of it. It's been blown out 100 times and looks to be 100 years old. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I won't put my spurs on unless it's $1,000 job. Generally, but then again, I have done other works as favors and stuff like that, so I can't really even say that. So, but generally for a tree job, yeah, I think the best one I had so far has been up in Placid, and that was for 8 trees. I had to climb and top two of them, but they were I think 14 inches was the biggest one, maybe 16. There was 3 cedars and 5 white pines, right? Or hemlock, two. I don't know. Either way, that was a $5,000 job. I didn't even put a price on it, but it just took me a day, drop and top type situation. So yeah, oh yeah, I bet, man. The only thing I've got going for me, well, how that job was even feasible, was because I was there by myself doing it. If I had to bring another guy out, I had a couple jobs like that last year, but for people to just come and give me a hand, I freaking pay them awesome. I mean that last job, one of my buddies came out and gave me a hand for. It was maybe 4 hours work. I gave him $700. I think that was a $2,500 job or something like that. So he made awesome money, and we got the job done quick. But that was another Placid deal. That was a big freaking nightmare too. That was right over the top of a near mansion. But it was good. 55 to live. Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's like me with the logging now. After you get your equipment payments, your insurance payments, all your other bullcrap payments between fuel, everything else, you factor all that in. You bring somebody else in there, you pay them well, and you're like, hey, I mean, I have done it because I'm a whimmy person, and I don't really factor that stuff in. But when the neighbor says he's got a little bit of time or something like that, I'll take him in, and you figure you got all this overhead, and you try to figure it out in your head. And I've messed myself over a couple times on it, but even like it was a blessing and a half. We had 2 cords to deliver of firewood this year, and he just so happened to be off. He said, "Hey, what are you doing today?" I said, "I'm gonna go drop some trees, get them skidded out, and I've got 2 firewood deliveries to the same place." I said, "But I've got to dump it all into a wheelbarrow, and then wheelbarrow it to where his pile is and stack it all up and everything else." I said, "If you want to come help. At that time, I was only charging $25 a face stacked. And thank the good Lord I had him with me, because it took us over 4 hours. I think it was 4 hours. 2 cord, stacked in a wheelbarrow, then stacked in his garage, and then stacked out back. And between loading the truck twice, getting it there, which was 15, 20 minutes, and then the stacking, he took everything, because we couldn't dump the wood off the tailgate. We had to leave it on the truck. So he would take the wood from the back of the truck, stack it on the gate. I'd then take it to the wheelbarrow, wheelbarrow it in, stack it while he stacked. It was such a freaking mess. So I refuse to stack wood like that again. From now on, it's drop and stack. If that's the way it is, let me bring the wood to the pile, because that was just, it was an absolute nightmare. That, and it was raining, and he wanted the majority of the wood in his garage, and his garage was wetter than outside was. So it's never going to be seasoned and ready for this winter. So it's just one of them crappy things, you know? Everyone thinks I make huge dollars, not so much. Buddy, without the overheads and everything else, we might make good money. But when you factor in the overheads, I mean, just look at the price on rope and then pulleys and no. We do what we love, and we love what we do, and we have good equipment to do the jobs that we love, and that's where the money from the jobs basically goes, as far as I'm concerned. Want to see that husky with a pipe? I want to use it. Problem is, that pipe was $300 off eBay, and I've made pipes for a lot less that have performed a lot better. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to bring it out this week. It's just a liability pipe. That's my biggest problem with it. I really want to cut it up and get the other pipe on it. But I'm in the process right now of building another 372. 372 big bore, 52 millimeter with a single ring, so I can get some throttle response out of it again. And I think I'm going to take one of my homemade pipes and put it on that. But that 371 has served me for many years, like 5 or 6 years now of steady use. And after I got the 500i in my hands, I really enjoy the 500i. It's not a steel husky thing. It is that 371 is really, really ragged out now. It needs seals. It needs base gasket. Again, I deleted the base gasket on, and I kind of regret that with the squish issues. I actually had to double. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it, but I want to get back into 372s. I'm looking at getting a 385 or a 390. And then I also want to do some port work on my 395 and maybe build a pipe for that. But it's hard to beat that 500i right now, especially cutting softwood. The only thing that I hate about the 500i is how it could really need a freaking oversized gas tank on it, because it goes through so much fuel. But I plan on getting the 371s back out. The immaculate 371 that I built last year for the woods, and it sat on a shelf. I ran into some hard times last winter where I couldn't sell wood, and I had equipment payments and insurance was coming up, so I put that on eBay for $1,200, and it ended up selling. So I kind of got myself in a pickle where I've got 2 backup saws right now, and the 371 is one of the backup saws, because it got ran ragged last winter, and I like to bring a saw in once a week, if not once a month at least. Take it apart, blow it all out, and then get back to it. But like I said, that 500i is, I'm basically beating it now. I beat it this from that last video. I mean, I've already broke the new Canon tip on the bar, so I just ordered 2 more of them. So I've got to get we're gonna have a little quick short video of how to replace bar tips, and I've got to order more chains for that. I've went through 10 chains since the logging show back in May, something like that. So yeah, I went through 10 chains on that and 6 chains on the 372. Every time I go out with that 372, I don't bring a camera. It's just like all the cutting that I did yesterday and the day before. I didn't bring a camera because my cameras are so full on footage right now. I just don't have the time. And then all of a sudden you put your long form content on and you're getting 30 something views. So I'm like, frig it. I'm just gonna keep working, you know. And then when I get more time, I'll hit the videos harder again. But uh, but Jeff, we'll have that on here, buddy. I promise. I'll make a valiant effort this week to get that saw out in the softwood. I'm gonna take a little. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna I'm gonna be cutting some softwood this week. I want to try to get a load out as soon as possible, because if I can get a truckload of wood, you know, and have $3,000-4,000 in my pocket again, in a week or two like that, from a load or two, I'll be looking a lot prettier than I am right now, and it'll help me calm down a little bit too. So that's where we're at with that. But like I said, it's hard. It's hard when that 500i is just reliable right now. It's just been reliable. I'd be loaded without overhead. I just dumped 14 grand into a bucket truck last 2 weeks. I know, buddy. I know. You know, it really, it's amazing how fast it happens. It's amazing. Last winter, my overhead was nothing. I was in here with a new 500i, my old 371s, and I was cutting, and I was making money, and I was splitting wood. And then I started getting broke, so I sold my side-by-side. Then I brought a processor. That processor has made life so much easier, right? I've been able to sell wood. I've been able to do this, that, and the other thing. But between hydraulic lines, hydraulic fluid, engine oil from the bar and chain, right? The belt. Man, that belt was a pain in the butt last winter. Chains. I probably got over $500 worth of chains in that before I figured out them carbide chains, which I love. GP, I love them. Carbide chains on that processor is freaking awesome. Then you go from the new processor that's really showing her age now already to the old Ford dump truck. As soon as I got that Ford dump truck, it changed this business completely. I was making money hand over fist, and then it broke. And then I was turning away business because I couldn't move the wood. Now it's fixed, and the business ain't pouring in no more. So I've got a lot of overhead now, and I really don't have any overhead, but I'm feeling it. So it's one of them things. One of them things. What do I do with pine? What do I do with pine? I don't cut pine. If I do cut pine, it goes to Grandpa for the mill. And he usually, like, I'll get into a stand of pine if I'm trying to get to hardwoods. And I'll be like, hey, Gramp, you know, I've got, you know, good sized pines here. And I don't want to scrape them all up, bust them up. So I ask him, you know, do you need 8-footers, 10-footers, 16-footers, whatever it is. He'll tell me what it is. I buck them up, bring them down to him. I've never split pine. I've never had a piece of pine, popple, cottonwood, cedar, anything but hardwood. I'd actually be easier to tell you. I've only ran elm, hard maple, soft maple, ash, oak, red oak, and beech through that processor. Nothing else has ever been through it. I had a guy wanting to buy popple off of me, log length, for his firewood boiler. He says he wants to buy all the popple he can off of me, and I told him, I said, I'll give it to you log length. He says, no. He says, you got that processor? I want it all cut and split. I told him no. And even if I'm selling it at hardwood prices, I don't want to cut it. Freaking side-by-sides going down the road. Yeah, that's kind of where I am with cottonwood. They're so rotten and trashy here that you get more into raccoon nests and everything else. You burn through your chain. So I told him, I said, best I can do is sell you green wood at 80 bucks, 80 bucks a face, and we'll go from there. So I'm not into processing pine. I'm not into processing anything that is gonna break it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Not to mention I got to figure out a storage area for it. But the pine logs now, I'm gonna be cutting, putting them on the side of the road, and I'm gonna have a grapple truck come up, pick them up for me. Uh, yeah. Oh, gotta love the roller coaster. Having a business is like having a bipolar disorder. If if it's not like having it, it definitely can bring it out in you. I'll tell you that. I have to cut pine trees, then I burn it in big huge piles because it's junk. But the dude will buy it. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, pine is fine. You know, pine burns good. It burns quick. It's like popple when it's dry. Um, it's pine is a perfect wood for campfires. It's a perfect wood for drinking beer at, that type of thing. Actually, I want to do it next year, and I'll do it on my old splitters at home. But I'll take some of my hardwood that seasoned for over a year, and I'll mix it in with my bundles, and I'll definitely add some pine because it gives life to a fire. It adds sparks, it adds popping, it adds a little bit of character to a fire, and people love it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's one of them active fires versus just a hardwood fire that just gets hot and you know pretty colors if you play with it enough, I guess. But no, pine is good stuff. I don't have enough room to have a pine uh, bin full of pine or a bin full of popple or anything else. Pine will split fine. You don't get into too much trash. Sometimes the bark is like ash, but popple's just not good around here. We don't have the 30, 40 inch popples here that are solid as a rock and, 120 foot tall. We have popples here that grow 20, 30 inches, get hollow, and break off. It's just, they're trash trees here. What the frick you want that garbage for? Yeah, honestly, it's cheap wood. And he was getting it by the truckload for like half the price of his other hardwoods that he was getting. So he never had a problem with it. But like I said, I mean, it's different if I'm just giving him the crap that I've got rotten over in the corner, which obviously it's not rotten. It's only been cut this freaking year, and most of it, probably the bottom chunks are getting punky. But if I could load that stuff on the truck, get it out of here for 150 bucks a load or something like that, I'd just do it to get rid of it. And people want it for the outdoor boilers because they don't care. They'll burn buckets of wood chips in them things, so it's just cheaper. Um, that's what all the bums from Chicago are doing. They will do bundles for like $7. Hey, that's what I'm doing, man. My bundles are $5. I've got them at a couple stores now. They're selling them. One of them selling them for $5.99. The other one's selling them for $7, and they're flying off the shelves, man. But you go to Lowe's and you get these little chunks of like white birch. I just see them there the other day. It was literally, it looked like a potato bag or an onion bag, them orange bags, and it had campfire bundles, and they were like 7-8 inch pieces, and they were dry. They were dry, but there might have been 8-10 pieces in there, and they were selling them for $14.99 at Lowe's. So Yeah, and they were selling them. Yeah, absolutely. People do it, man. Some campgrounds won't let you bring in your own wood. You know, we've got some state campgrounds here. The same thing. People buy my wood, they can't burn it because it's got to be within a certain 10-mile radius or 15-mile radius or whatever the heck you want to call it. And if it's not, it has to be kiln dried to make sure that they're not bringing in invasive species and whatnot. But I'm thinking next year what I'll do is maybe get a little they call them 5x8 trailers, put a little top over it, and I'll bring it down to the campground and park it right out front. Put $7 bundles on that son of a gun and let them come. Oh, half price, Harry. I love bringing those guys junk. Yes, yes, that's what I mean. They want popple. I want to get rid of it. I don't want to bury it. You know, in 3 to 5 years, it's probably going to be dirt anyway. But I've got a lot of standing popple here that I want to get out, but I don't want to put it in the ground because all it does is throw shoots. And I'm not looking to brush hog over my popple pile every year. So yeah, yeah, I've seen one of that. It's got one of them long handles off the side of it. I forgot. I think it was a shorts clip, and a guy was loading it with a skid steer, but he had a big old firewood bucket on it, and he had a bunch of rounds in it, and he was just dumping them into this freaking. I don't know. It was almost like an aircraft door hanger, or I don't know, one of them doors that just lifts up. He dump it in, and then it would close right down. You know what I mean? Pretty cool. Whiskey River Art and Trading. I don't know. I've got a couple Whiskey River axes or axe handles. Oh, Whiskey River. Okay, that's the name of the boiler. Yeah, I don't know. I spent way too long. I think I spent 4 hours welding in a boiler last year. One of my side jobs, they had a leak on the back wall. It was pissing water into the firebox. So I gouged it all out and replaced all the panels and then welded squash plates on it again. And I think this year they're taking the stupid thing out because he was done with it before it had the leak, but he just had to get it fixed for last winter. He's not heating the pool no more. Yeah, that's what I mean. The top load, where one of the roof panels comes right up and they freaking dump the chunks in and goes right back down. $8,000, huh? That's a freaking steal. Every time I've looked into them boilers, it's like 20, 30,000. Manufactured 1 hour north of me. Yeah, we've got to get ours from Vermont if they haven't gone woke. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think New York will sell that stuff no more. They sell like the multi freaking converter stoves and all that garbage, but catalytic converters and everything to purify the air and to help your house burn down type of stuff. But I think that boilers and stuff you got to get out of like New Hampshire and Maine and Vermont. I think Vermont still got them. This one don't have none of that garbage. Good. Good. The creosote tubes. Who's that one? That was one of the videos that I did watch from one of the guys that whores out his wife's backwood fire. I don't remember. Back 40? Maybe. I think it was a short or something like that. He was looking at his wood boiler, and it looked like a candle. And he went up on the roof, and there was literally a freaking hole the size of your pinky, and everything else was creosote. I was like, holy frig, you're a firewood channel, dude. I mean, he burns nothing. Supposedly what he was saying was he burns nothing but the ends and just the ugly wood and whatnot. But that freaking, he's lucky he did not have a fire. He had creosote leaking out of his freaking door. It got so bad. Which, I mean, realistically, my neighbor's was leaking creosote out the door, but he didn't have a hole down his chimney the size of a 1-inch stick. Yeah. How is that gonna work, Bubba? Didn't they just put out them new inspection machines where you gotta plug the stupid things in and make sure they have all that garbage in them? My dad was just saying he's the head fleet at a pretty well-known soft drink company, and he said that he just had to spend like $10,000-$12,000 on a inspection machine for these diesels now to plug them in and make sure that they still have all that garbage. Well, it's not a matter of looking under, it's a matter of plugging in, I guess, which they never plugged in diesels before. It was a safety inspection. I don't know if it is emissions though, Bubba. That's what I'm asking. I think it's like parameters. I think it goes through your parameters of your truck, and if they've been altered, they can't inspect. Like I said, I don't know enough about it. I just know that Dad, for all of his big rigs and everything else, they've got to be plugged in every year in order to be inspected. And I don't think it's this state alone. I think it's 50 statewide, or everybody would go over to Vermont or New Hampshire like we do for all of our Freedom Package senders and everything else. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. No, Frig, you really wouldn't even have to look underneath it. You just have to listen to it. After you get them emission stuff sorted out, they don't sound the same at all. They don't run the same at all. EFI Live farm plates? Maybe, I don't know. I should have done that myself. Did you you got a tax ID number? You tax exempt? I got to figure that out if I can do that or not. It would have saved me over $5,000 on that new tractor. Don't get caught running farm plates. I think we're allowed to go 50 or 100 miles, something like that, on farm plates here. My Uncle Bob's putting them on his pickup. And I went the legal route with the dump truck, and I'm wishing I didn't now, specifically because of the road tax fees and all the other garbage, where I don't go 15 miles or 20 miles is the furthest I go with a stupid thing. Not for commercial use. Yeah. Okay. I think we can still use them commercially here, though. Farm plates. That's what all the 18-wheelers have down at like Babby's and the old Bubbins farm. That's what I mean. I got chickens. I got a pig, too. I'm a DOT bad boy. Yeah. Yeah, I got family in the DOT. They keep me They keep me at least legal with it. Yeah, I think our farm use exemption here is a little different. Maybe it isn't on the commercial side. I don't know that, but I do know that farmers can go. I don't even know the distance. I know that like the mega farm goes from Peru to Shazy, and that's got to be 40, 45 miles because they own all them farm fields, and they're running all their silage from Shazy down to Peru. So, Hood Outdoors, how you doing, Bubba? I back road everywhere, like drinking. It shouldn't be everywhere. Here is back road, so unless I get out to the freaking big city, which isn't a big city at all here, but or it is for us here, but it's not compared to a lot of places. 16,000 people. You like fishing? I love fishing. I haven't I haven't done any in the past year. I was gonna go out with my son today. I went out and got my fishing license, but missed out on a golden opportunity this spring. That's for sure. It was beautiful, but I having your own business, you really miss out on a lot of things. But then again, do you? You know, it's one of them things. Yes, I want to have more times with my son, more times with my daughter, but I have the potential of having a lot more free time, and I can go with them on field trips and to their field days and that type of thing whenever I want to. So, yeah, it's one of them things. I want to go back out and do some fishing. I'm going to, but I'm in the first 3 years of owning a business, and it's been it's been rough. I mean, even hunting last year, I think I went out 3 4 times, and I was more or less looking at the trees around me than I was the deer. So I just got to get that make that time. Yes, I know. Preaching to the choir, buddy. Preach to the choir. It's very hard right now. Very hard. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Like I said, I get to go to all their school functions this Wednesday. They got an open house, so we're gonna go to that. We're gonna meet their teachers. We'll probably go out have a nice little supper there, and then they've got first day of school. I think it's Thursday or Friday this week. And like last year, I was able to go to all my daughter's field days. I was able to go to my son's field days. Where if I was logging or working for the man or something like that, I would have never been able to do that, take 3 4 days off because, of course, they're not in the same day or the same time. So I was able to do all that with them. But something like doing something for myself, and my son, because he loves fishing too. And that's what it does get to me. I always on a rainy day, like, dang, I wish I had time to go fishing. But then when the sun's shining, I don't think I've ever thought, dang, I wish I was out fishing right now instead of cutting these trees. So that's kind of where I'm at. You spent more time talking. Yeah, yeah, that was when I was hauling coal. I was hauling coal from frickin' Champlain in this thing. I was only able to bring half a ton home at a time. You were out frickin' shooting bucks and eating burgers. Yeah, I remember that. Mr. Dan, how you doing, Bubba? I never do anything for myself. I live to serve. Yep. How you feeling, Mr. Dan? How's the rental business? Still going good, or have they broken all your equipment? Yeah. So far, so good. No kidding. Them Canadian guys, they they gotta have soft hands up there. Then every time I've rented, Frank, my brother-in-law just rented a excavator to do his garage, and he was ripping a tree stump out. And I think it was like the first hour he had it. He ended up taking a mirror off the freaking cab corner of that Kubota, and he and a root came up and smashed both windshields, the bottom one where your feet are, and then the top. And I was like, he had the thing for a week, and he was so scared to use it after that first hour because he tore the freaking mirror off, and I don't even know how he tore the mirror off. Now that I think about that. And I mean, the kids run excavator. It's not like it was his first deal at all. But it just anytime you rent something, man, and then it ended up coming from a demo. It was a brand new machine that the first job they had was tearing down a burnt down house, and the renter, the rental agency, the rental whatever the hell you want to call it, took that machine from that demo and brought it to his house with no fuel in it and never did an inspection on it. And I think it was the second or third trip I got there, I noticed that he had a leak going down the secondary boom, and I was like, hey, what's going on here? Give me a wrench and we'll get this tightened up. Well, they ended up must be into the chimney or something like that of the house, and it rubbed on the boom. I was, did they even inspect it? And he's like, no, they took it from that job. I said, well, then you better take pictures because you haven't got into any concrete blocks or anything, and this is clearly concrete, So he took his pictures and let them know, and it was a rough deal. But like I said, every time I've rented something, I've tore something up. It don't matter what it is. Derung 26, hello from Indonesia. My name is Aziz. Hello. One broken window, but that was my doing. LOL. Canucks are all a different breed altogether. Yeah. Had a snag. Yep, them are the ones that get you generally. The ones that the butt hits first. And it has a way of bound. Well, I can't even say the butt. Usually the limbs, I guess, would be the worst because they have that flex to them, and when they hit the ground, they end up springing back at you. Or where if you're working from a ladder, you know that butt end is going to hit the ladder. It isn't going to go any other way. But yeah, them snags, unless they're freaking dried out, then they just make a big mess. Well, JP, you were reading my mind, buddy, because I've been going here for an hour and a half, and you've been keeping me steady the whole time. So I've already kicked the can here. I'm out of drinkage, so it's frickin' 7 o'clock. I gotta get going myself. I'm going to look up cord. I'll try to send you that one, buddy. Busy thumbs, bro. You know me. All right, Bubba. Thank you for coming in, man. Great conversation with you, buddy. Had a guy call me saying he damaged the machine. When I showed up, there was a 2-inch scratch, LOL. I said, that's not damage. See ya, GP. Yeah, well, them are the type of customers you want, though. The ones that'll point out the. I mean, it is damage, but it's not. Compared to taking the decals off the counterweight, or something, or pushing in the freaking panels on the back, getting into the pile too deep. But it's one of them deals. I'd rather have a customer freaking worry about a torn windshield wiper than, like I said, taking out a hydraulic pump or leaking all the fluid out, putting a different line on it, and then filling the hydraulic tank with not what the machine needs and taking out other hydraulic components. So yeah, it's a risky deal. It's a risky deal. But I'll do one more walk around. I gotta get this wool jacket off. I just put it on because it was freaking raining so bad, and I parked my truck up the hill. But I'll show you real quick. If I don't land on my butt here, we've got a. Let me see. You can see it been raining like stupid here in the wood yard. I'll show you guys real quick. Actually, my phone battery's pretty freaking dead too. But that's what we got left there. I put another little load on the processor. I'll get after that here next month or so. And then I had Grandpa came down and gave me a hand, I think Thursday this week, and I ended up bringing 4 or 5 loads down with the dump truck, which added up quite well. I mean, it's well over my head. It's probably 10-12 feet tall. Try to get above it here. Like I said, this was maybe a day and a half worth of cutting in some good wood, But what a blessing to be able to take this in and out of the woods, bring it down here and have Gramp stack it up for me, instead of having me load up the truck, dump it down here like this, find another spot to dump it, and just keep doing that, and then bring the tractor down and have to stack it all up. So that was an asset and a half. And the old dumpy, she ran good, so I can give her some more love here in the next little bit. Got to get another battery in it. I've got a dry cell or something going on. Every time I shake the battery, the truck has no problem starting. But when it sits, I don't even know. I do have my keys on me. See if this girl will start, or if she'll have that flat spot. Pull out the old choking lever. Where are you? Sure she's not in gear, because I've already done that once. Just about ran over myself.